Good day, Brittle Planet listeners. This is Eric Peterson in Salt Lake City, and today we are joined by the one and only Tony Hernando of of Black. How are you doing today?
Very good. Very nice to be here. Thanks so much for having me again in this show. And so happy to talk to you and all your listeners in United States. So yeah, very cool.
Yeah, you guys are one of those bands that I really would love to see bridge more of a gap into the United States because I think you have a direct line to the kind of stuff that people would love here.
Oh yeah, I think even of course we are from Europe and we have a certain sound and certain vibe to it that you can deny is very European. But our influences are really wide, and in me in particular, I always loved what we would call power metal, US power metal. That is a different term. We use power metal term here in Europe when we talk about bands like Halloween, for example, especially those fast, speedy metal bands with high pitched vocals. But when it comes to United States power metal bands, I call power metal early Queensryche, Sabotage, Vicious Rumors, Riot from the Thunder Steel and Privilege of Power albums.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of influence of all of that because I was a huge fan of all of that back in the day. So definitely we have a European vibe, but we have a lot of an American vibe also in the Lords of Black mix, I believe.
Who would you say, as far as European bands? I mean, we've talked about it before, but who European bands would you say influenced you?
I've been always a huge fan of Iron Maiden, of course, early Iron Maiden. Yeah. Especially albums like Seventh Son of a Seventh Son or Somewhere in Time made a huge impact on me, and you can tell in our music. Actually, Alchemy of Souls, or pretty much any of our previous albums, are really long and cinematic. Even they are not conceptual albums as such, but we have that kind of old school vibe like Iron Maiden had with the early recordings. Albums that you have to enjoy in its entirety, from beginning to the end, and we still love that feeling, and we are very old school in that sense. And it's the same because nowadays the people consume music differently, maybe with playlists and bullshit like that. So we are more a different kind of band for sure.
Yeah. And where are you joining us from today?
I'm sorry?
Where are you joining us from today?
In Madrid, Spain.
Oh, nice. Now, and things are good over there? You're going into your night right now?
Yeah. It's already night. Yeah.
So before we talk about the new album, let's tell people a little bit about how you formed the band.
Well, it's almost 7 years already. We formed the band in 2014 when I first met Ronnie. He was been living in Spain not for long. After he moved from Chile, he's originally from Chile, and I got heard about a guy that sounded like Ronnie James Dio. They told me, and I was putting a band for making a tribute concert here in Madrid, like an all-star kind of band for doing a tribute show for Ronnie James Dio when he died, when he passed away, and somebody put me in touch with this guy. I didn't know anything about him, and he came to the rehearsals, and I told him what song you want to try, and he knew every single song from the Black Sabbath, Dio, and Rainbow repertoire, and it was like love at first sight, man. It was unbelievable, and it was very, very electric, very like meant to be, because we have this connection from the very beginning, and it was like I felt like my music, my guitar was completely in everything was into place with his voice. So I think we made a really powerful team from the very beginning, and we have that kind of very old school and special tandem of guitarist and vocalist kind of together. That old fashion of having a great from an amazing vocalist with kind of a guitar hero on his side, and we love that. So
it reminds me of, you talk about that side by side thing. It reminds me a lot of like the Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. It's just your guys' combination fits so well together. And if there's a voice in this world that mesmerizes or puts you in a trance, it's Ronnie's.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely Robert Plant with Jimmy Page, or Richie Blackmore with Ian Gillan, or Paul Kossoff with Paul Rogers. Yeah, it was, of course, Freddie Mercury with Brian May. That was the formula, the key ingredient for the ultimate rock band, having a second to none vocalist and a guitar hero side by side. Yeah.
So speaking of, you talked about forming the band and stuff. You've got new member in the band, Johan Nunez, right?
Yeah, Johan is he's been for 2 years already, recording already Alchemy of Souls Part 1. So everything is going great with him, because he's not only a really high skilled drummer, very technician, but very powerful, very metal. And also one of the reasons he absolutely won out on the auditions is because he already had a lot of experience touring with bands like us. He's playing with Gus G and Firewind a lot as well. So he definitely brings to the table that kind of power and edge. I think is perfect for Lords of Black.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So let's dive into the new album, the Alchemy of Souls, which comes out a week from today, correct? On the October 15th.
Yep, absolutely correct. 1 week from today.
First thing I have to say is I love that an album is so epic that it needs a second part. I mean, I know the last time we talked, you had most of this written, correct? When the first one came out.
Yeah, at least musically, but the lyrics have been changing a lot, because I think I've been obviously very biased and very influenced by all the events we've been going, and we've been living in the current times. So in the end, but in a positive way, I'm not saying this in a negative way, the whole album, at least the second part, is a huge rant against everything that is wrong, or everything that I see wrong right now in the world. So while the first part was also between the never-ending fight between good and evil, and the power and the powerless ones, but it was more in a personal scale, more at a little level, a more scaled down kind of thing. While this second part, everything I'm discussing between good and evil, and light and dark, is more at a global scale, because of the current events we are witnessing. So yeah, sometimes it's like a huge rant against everything that I feel is wrong. So
yeah, and I remember when we talked about the first album, it was more of it wasn't so much of a relevance to what is going on right now, but this one definitely is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a loose concept. When I came out with the Alchemy of Souls, what I was trying to portray is that kind of struggle we all have inside of us between good and evil, and the way uh, we manage our lives or everything, or how we go through life, searching for the meaning of life and the right questions and the right answers and everything. But at the same time, I feel that everything is connected, and we are all connected in some way, spiritual, energetic wise, and all that kind of thing. So this time is the same concept, but as I have said, is a more global scale, a more kind of general thing,
Yeah. So I mean, kind of what I go back to is you used Queensryche as one of your influences. And I wouldn't say it's like an Operation Mindcrime, but I would say it's more like Empire, where Empire had kind of songs that had themes, but necessarily weren't all come together as one theme.
Right. Yeah. I mean, those topics they were already talking about in Operation Mindcrime or Empire. Maybe Promised Land was more personal kind of theme, more introspective, and that kind of stuff you could find more of that kind of stuff in the Alchemy of Souls Part 1. That is more personal, more about your inner struggles and relationships as well. And yeah, this album is more like the song Empire, talking about the powers, or Mindcrime. That the whole album Mindcrime is such a masterpiece, and the way these guys were talking about politics, corruption, everything.
Yeah. I mean, so when I listen to this album, I kind of feel bad for people that have only heard singles, because to me, the album comes together when you listen to it all the way through versus just hearing a single.
Yeah, absolutely. And even worse, if you are one of those listeners that go from platform to platform, just checking 10 seconds of music, you are not gonna be getting anything from us. I saw some comments of one guy that, well, I don't find anything interesting. In 10 seconds, so I moved anywhere else. So it's like, man, it's like if I go and check, and I want to check Dream Theater, and they put songs like 9 or 10 minutes long, at least I need to give the guys at least 2 minutes or 3 minutes of my of attention to see if I like it or not. So all I'm asking is, please listen to the whole song. I'm not even telling you listen to the whole album, but I think we are for those kind of people that really enjoy an album like they enjoy a good movie or a good book. You go and go for the whole thing, for an experience, for a journey.
Yeah.
And that's what we offer, and we like to offer. So we definitely are not a singles kind of band.
Yeah. And I mean, the prelude for this album just kind of sets the tone for what the whole album is going to be like.
Yeah. So if you like epic stuff, and find different things, and especially one thing that I believe is one of our good things is that you can be listening to our albums or to our songs, and you constantly find new things. You listen again and you find a little new thing you didn't notice before, and more and more and more. So we are not a band you're going to be discovering just one listening. And me as a fan, I was the same. When I was a kid, I really prefer those kind of bands that I bought the album and I knew that album was going to be with me for many weeks, even months, discovering more and more details.
Yeah.
So I grew very, very soon very tired of bands, very simple, radio-friendly bands. that were good, but that was enough for me. I really needed something else.
Yeah, they're very shallow.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, when you listen to this album, though, we talk about your influences, and I can hear your influences come out not in a copy sense, but I can hear them. I can hear the songs that have a Queensryche sound in. And you and I briefly touched on this earlier, but the last 2 or 3 songs have a very heavy guitar riff and almost a thrash Metallica sound to them.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan also of the thrash stuff. Actually, when thrash metal started back in the day, I was maybe 11 or 12 years old, and it was new and it was fresh and it was dangerous and it felt really great. And I was a huge fan of the early Metallica. For me, Metallica is with Cliff Burton. That's absolutely one of my favorite bands of all time in those first 3 records, especially Master of Puppets. And I was very into thrash in the 80s, and it's part of my influences. And yeah, Queensryche, also Fates Warning, those kind of bands really made a huge impact on me. Yeah.
So like Fate to Be Destroyed, that is just, to me, sounds thrash. I mean, it's not the whole thing, but it's got elements of it in it. And same with No Hero Is Homeless too. I mean, that both of those songs to me, I just go, wow. I would have never thought that an album like this could incorporate thrash into it and do it so well.
Yeah, thank you. Is right. Those are really 2 strong and really heavy and dark songs, and also you have other songs like Before That Time Can Come, that is almost a power ballad.
Yeah,
and we like to have everything in between. Fated to Be Destroyed even has a little interlude in the middle that is almost a ballad, only guitar and vocals, like kind of Dio, kind of Queen kind of thing. And all of a sudden, it comes again with a thrashy riff and a crazy solo. And speaking about lyrics, Fated to Be Destroyed starts with the phrase, make sure you fit the new normality, make sure you praise stupidity.
So that's a great line for the song.
So yeah, it sets the whole vibe, and it's a huge rant against everything that I feel is wrong nowadays. And what is sad is a global thing, because I can't tell you it's something that is happening here in Spain. No, it's something that is very sadly happening in the United States, happening in UK, happening in Australia, happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So it really breaks my heart seeing people so polarized and so full of hatred, and it really breaks my heart, especially with the United States, because here in Spain we've been kind of polarized for many decades already, for whatever, politicians. But I never expected United States going this way. So
well, we did.
Yeah.
So one of the songs I really wanted to ask you about was Sympathy, and is that technically like a bonus track on the album?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We like to make those kind of B-side bonus all the time, and we normally for that kind of bonus tracks we go for a cover song. That way we pay tribute, pay homage to the bands that we love, that we have learned from. And we have been doing this from the beginning, doing covers of Queen, Dio, or anyone else. But this time, because 2020 was really horrible, not only because of the pandemic, but because of the enormous amount of artists and legendary musicians that passed away last year. So we decided to go and pay a tribute to some of those guys. And we were deciding maybe a tribute to Eddie Van Halen, covering a Van Halen song. That would be great. We were almost very close to go for a Rush song, paying tribute for Neil Peart. But at the end, considering that Ken Hensley and Lickers Lake passed away very, very close to each other last year, and later on, John Lawton, the singer, as well. So we decided to go for Sympathy. That is one of those kind of cult, obscure songs that not many people know about, because everybody knows about Easy Living or the most popular commercial stuff from Uriah Heep.
Yeah.
But this is a very beautiful song that came out in the album Firefly from 77 with John Lawton on vocals.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think it came out great. Ronnie is showing a really different palette and different sides of his singing, and yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Yeah, it's a great song, and I mentioned in my review it has that deep purpley kind of sound you would expect. I mean, it comes across great.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the Uriah Heep. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with that. So I'm glad you picked that song. So
yeah, I'm really expecting reaction from the fans, and I think the fans are gonna love these choice that we made with this song, because Uriah Heep has been, at least in Europe, one of those cult bands, not as known as Deep Purple, but really a band that is legendary, is still around and is still doing great, actually.
Yeah.
With different members, and always putting really, really quality albums. And so yeah, it's not only a tribute to Ken, Lee, and John that have passed away, but in general, it's a tribute to all those bands from the 60s and 70s and 80s that really show us the way for rock and roll. So
Are there any songs on the album for you that have any particular special meaning to you? I mean, I know they're all your babies and they're all great songs, but is there any song that you are drawn to yourself?
Well, I think Before That Time Can Come is one song that is really, really, really special for me. But lyric-wise, considering the times we are living in right now, I would say that Maker of Nothingness, that is the opener of the album, and it's going to be the new video next week when the album is released on Friday 15. A new video is going to be released as well. And this time is for that song, the Maker of Nothingness.
Nice.
As you can imagine, with that title, is about, evil in the way you want to define or portray evil. Is right here in the corner, and is devouring everything, and is making everything wrong, and we have to stop this madness. Yeah, because it depends on us. Every little thing we do right every day is something that we can do to change.
Exactly.
To change this.
So, and then the other thing I wanted to ask you is about, I've always been intrigued, being an 80s guy, with your album covers. How did you come up with this? Who did it? Give me some details on the album cover.
Yeah, again, as I said before, we are very old school in terms of we like to put a very long album with meaningful and powerful songs, quality songs, and that you are going to be probably enjoying most as a whole, as a unit, instead going with singles. And with all of that, we like to offer really cool artworks, really conceived along the music, and give you the whole thing with a nice cover, artwork, and everything. And we've been working with this guy from Colombia named Felipe Machado, that is an incredible artist, and we've been working with him from the very beginning, from the very first album. And he's a guy that really reads my mind when I'm discussing with him the concepts, the lyrics, the themes, and he really, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, and is great. And yeah, I just received copies from the label, the courtesy copies from the label, and that kind of artwork really shines on the vinyl version. That is big, bold, and is like a statement of it's really badass on vinyl.
It is. I mean all the album covers are great, but this one it stands out. And so you do you send him lyrics, or you just talk to him, or do you send him music and then he listens to how does he come up with it?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna be probably more kind of talking to him on the phone or something, because I don't think I'm gonna be sending him songs before. I'm very, I'm keeping the songs, maybe just me, the voice in my band, and Roland Grapple, our producer and mixer, are aware of the songs. And maybe I will be giving him the lyrics, maybe, and maybe a few tips, and that's it.
Okay.
Everything else, he has to come up with that.
Well, he's done a great job of it.
Oh yeah, yes.
And then as far as the album itself, I know you mentioned you've got the physical release. You have some LPs coming out, and you also have some gold ones coming out, correct?
Yeah, this time I think actually the album, the vinyl version, is only a special edition made in gold, not regular black vinyl. Is as far as I know, is just a limited edition in gold. And it's beautiful. It came out beautifully. So, yep.
And then people can also buy the CD, and they can get it on digital platforms too.
That's correct. Yeah. Frontiers has a shop, an online shop, both for Europe and United States, separate platforms, I believe. And also they can order the stuff at our online shop at lordsofblack.com. So, yep.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, are you guys doing any, are you having a release party, or just gonna release the new single and go for it?
Yeah, in previous records, we always make a listening party with press and people. Maybe we invite like 50 or 60 or 100 fans and have a dinner, have some cool catering, and present the album before actually going on tour or whatever. But this time, obviously, the situation is what it is, and we don't want to start doing anything publicly. At this moment, we are going to be waiting till how things are turning in the beginning of 2022, and hopefully we are going to be starting gigging, touring, probably in the second half of 2022, probably.
So that was going to be my next question. Is so you're hoping? Do you have any festivals or anything lined up yet?
Not yet, because of how things have been for last 2 years. Pretty much all the festivals are closed already, because practically they are postponed editions of 2019 and 2020 into 2021 and 2022. So we are waiting to see if we find some free slot in some of those festivals, and if not, we are going to be booking our own tour dates and see how things start to to go, hopefully, in the right direction.
Well, I just have to put it out there. I'd love to see you guys over here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know could be a long shot, especially with the way things are going right now, but I'd love to see you over here.
Yeah, especially after the great experience we had at Prog Power Festival in Atlanta. I really know that we have a great fan base in the United States, and this kind of band, I think, is a perfect match for you guys out there. And yeah, it would be great. The same feelings we have when we go to Japan. Those guys are really into the band, and it's beautiful. It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, from when you get to Japan and you get to the Japan level, that's when those guys are crazy about their bands.
Yeah, they are really special, very loyal, and they know everything about you, and you can see their faces in the front line, and they are really watching you with admiration and with respect. They are so great.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I appreciate your time. It's been amazing to talk to you, and I can only encourage people to pick up this album, because I can tell you right now, it's going to be in my top 10 for the year, because I love like we talked about, the epicness of this album. So,
man, thank you so much for your words. It's so cool. It's very cool being in your show again this year. And if the album is gonna be in your favorite list again, that's 2 times in a row, 2 albums
exactly.
in a row.
Exactly.
That means something. So
yes.
Very cool.
So I appreciate your time, and everybody pick up the new album next week when it comes out.